how's it going? Austin Reed here. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Alright, in this video we're going to be going over how to make an eBay login script. Now I've re-recorded this video like 6 times because I want to make sure that I have all the information in there for you. Okay, so definitely it's a lot harder to record coding videos than it seems, especially since you guys don't know how to code. And I'm not very good at explaining myself when it comes to that. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this video and get started. Alright guys, how's it going? So I have gotten a couple complaints about my microphone. So I went ahead and I busted out my music equipment and I got out a condenser mic. So let me know in the comments below whether or not this microphone's any better than the last one, okay? Now here's the code that I use to log into eBay. Okay, it's pretty simple code. I'm just gonna run through the code from top to bottom and explain what each line does. That way you can understand, and I'll also explain how I found each of those lines. Okay, so we'll start with the first 9 lines. Okay, import OS, import time, import RE, import Selenium, import image. All of these do is they import your modules into your Python. So I would simply just copy this code. There's not really much explaining to do about this code. It's all just like what tools my program's actually using. Okay. The very next line, driver equals webdriver.chrome, and then the path to the Chrome driver. As I explained in the last video, you have to download your Chrome driver. The reason why is because that's the browser you're going to be automating, okay? Now, this line of code just tells, your script where that browser is. So you would change this to users, name of your PC, whatever the name of your PC is, and wherever it is that, you kept that file, wherever you put it, whether it's on your desktop or in your C drive or whatever, you have to put the path of that here. Now, I don't know where that is on your computer. That changes for everybody. So you guys are going to have to figure that out. The very next line of code, what it's doing is it's looking for cookies. All right, so you definitely want to establish browsing history. That way you get less CAPTCHAs and you have a lot less issues when it comes to testing your programs out. Okay, so this line of code right here, basically what it does is it's looking for a file called cookies.pkl, all right, which if it doesn't have one, it will create one. Okay, simple as that. All right, and so what that's doing is that's, just establishing browsing history with whatever website you're trying to test. All right, here I have email address and passwords. All right, now this is a list. So I can actually add more emails here, like email2@email.com, and then the corresponding password would just be the very next password, just like that, okay? Simple as that. These are lists, okay? So you can put as many emails as you want. This is useful when you have like 10 eBay accounts or 20 eBay accounts. You want to do orders or posting on 10 or 20 different eBay accounts. This is where you would put the list of eBay accounts. All right, so it's pretty simple there. All right, now right here I'm defining a function. Now the cool thing to note about Python, it's really important, is you have to make sure that you tab properly. So everything inside this function needs to be tabbed once. Okay, actually, these are super tabbed wrong. I don't know why they're out there. They're actually supposed to be like that. Okay, tabs are super important in Python. Oftentimes you'll have a problem with your code, and it's simply just because you didn't tab something properly. So be sure to make sure you look at your tabs, okay? So here's how you define a function. You define it, you put def, you put a name, so you can put name of function. It really doesn't matter what you call it. eBay_login. Okay. The very next thing you do is you're putting your variables. Okay. So driver is what I called my browser. You could call this browser. You could call this Chrome. You could call it whatever. I like to call it driver just because that's what most people use. It's just kind of like good code etiquette, to use that, but it doesn't really matter. You could call it banana if you wanted to. All right, so this is your browser. Email address, boom, okay, password. Boom. Simple as that, okay? Now, very first line, this is how you get a website, okay? So driver.get, and then R, and then some quotes, and then the link to the eBay sign-in page. That's what this is. This is the link to the eBay sign-in page. So if I plug that in here, it goes to the eBay sign-in page, which right now is in Spanish because I'm in Argentina. All right, the very next line of code, this is how you're finding the elements on the web page you're going to interact with. I'm going to explain that in really, really big detail here in a second. First, I'd like to let you guys know that I don't use APIs. There's a reason why. Because, and I'm not going to teach you APIs, because if I taught you how to do APIs, then you could use eBay and Banggood, and you wouldn't be able to use a lot of websites, because a lot of websites simply just don't have an API, or you have to be a developer with that website. It's a really lengthy, drawn-out process. So I'm just going to teach you how to make your own programs without APIs, because there's no real reason to use them anyway. I mean, they do help in some aspects, but I mean, just so that you guys can universally write code for any website, I'm going to show you how to do it without. So first of all, you can define anything in Python by putting a name. So name equals, and then whatever it is. So you can call it like password, or you could make it an element on the web page, right? And that's what this is. This is an element on the web page. So here's what I'm doing is I'm saying this is the email address box, okay? And I'm saying it's equal to, and then I'm telling the browser to find an element by ID that has user ID. And I'll show what that means. Watch this, all right? So this is where you put your email address, right? So I'm going to inspect that. And as we can see here, it says ID right there, ID equals user ID. I'll explain that again. Okay, so right here you've got the email address where you're supposed to put the email address. All right, just go ahead and inspect element, okay? And then right there it says ID equals user ID. Here, I'll even zoom in so you can see that. Here, give it a sec. How do you zoom in? Do you hit the plus button? Okay, boom. Wow. Okay, I zoomed in really far. Let's do that one more time. Inspect element. Boom. All right. ID equals user ID. Do you see that? So this, all this is doing is this is finding this element on the web page. Okay, simple enough. All right. Same with password. Okay. So if we hop over here, we go inspect element. Boom. ID equals pass. Do you see that? All right, so that's what this is doing. This is finding the password box, all right? Then the next one is obviously finding the submit button because you have to click it, right? So, boom, inspect element, input, type submit, name, SGN, BT, ID, SGN, BT. I actually went one layer up, so if you can see here, I actually used BTN wrapper 2. Okay, and if you highlight it, it still shows you exactly what it is. So clicking on the BTN wrapper 2 will still click on the submit button. I could use ID equals SGNBT if I wanted to. Sometimes you have to play around and try, looking a little bit outside the div tag or inside the div tag to actually find what it is. But it's simple as that. I mean, it's pretty simple as far as this goes. You're just clicking around on a web page and finding the elements so far. All right, now this CAPTCHA test is to find CAPTCHA. Now, I don't have the CAPTCHA up anymore. Basically, I have to fail a bunch of login attempts to get a CAPTCHA to pop up so that I could actually make part of the program that deals with the CAPTCHA. And I will do a whole video on CAPTCHAs, okay, a whole video on it. I don't want to jump into it now because it's a little complicated. I'm just showing you how to make a simple login script right now. All right. Now this iRand, I could call it whatever. I could call it, banana. It doesn't matter. iRand is the name though. All right, equals rand range 0 to 10, which means I'm picking a random number between 0 and 10. Okay. This very next one says it's telling the browser to wait for whatever that random number is. So it's saying, all right, browser, wait for a random number of seconds between 1 and 10, or 0 and 10, and then click the next button. So it's random. That way it doesn't look like a program, it looks more like a human, right? And then yet again, I'll explain the CAPTCHAs in another video, so don't worry about this part of code. I'll just minimize that part of code for you. That's all CAPTCHA code. I have a whole nother module on that. I'll explain that, I promise. All right, and then very simple, email address dot send keys, send underscore keys. All you're doing is sending the keys, email address. All right, boom. It's sending the email address box right here that we found up here, the email address over here. Boom, simple as that. All right, same with password. Password dot send keys, passwords. So it's sending this password box, the password we found up here. Okay, simple enough. Submit dot click. I'm sure you guys can understand that. Submit buttons here, you know, we found it right here, and all it's doing is clicking it, okay? And then this very next line of code, what it's doing is it's saving the cookie. So when you log in, it's like, okay, now you've got browsing history. This will help prevent you from getting CAPTCHAs in the future, okay? Of course, I'll teach you how to get past CAPTCHAs, so they don't really matter, but you know, it's good not to have them as much because they do sometimes create some headaches, you know, and CAPTCHA programs aren't perfect. My CAPTCHA program works about 8 out of 10 times. About 2 out of 10 times, my CAPTCHAs will actually fail, and it will have to run twice because, you know, programs aren't perfect at solving CAPTCHAs. It's as simple as that. You can get close, but they're not perfect. All right, so this is a function, okay? So just because I have this here doesn't mean it's gonna run. This is just something that I can use over and over and over again, all right? Now what this line is doing is it's saying for each email and email address. So if I had like 3 of these here, another, whatever, you get the point. If I have 3 of these here, 3 emails here, then it will go through each email and the email address. And actually this I equals 0 should be outside. Make sure that you have variables outside of your loops, okay, so it doesn't reset. All right, so right now it's saying I equals 0. Now all Python lists start with 0. So the 0 element is the Dexter coin 1 and the test pass. The first element would be the ASDF, okay, and then the second element would be the second ASDF, okay? So if that makes sense. Now what this is doing is for email and email address, which is saying for each email in this list, it's going to run this bit of code. And what it's doing is it's running the eBay login function, which is this function right here. It's giving it the browser. It's giving it the email address with the number I. And the reason why you want the number I is because you don't want it to log into the same email address every time. You definitely don't want to do that. So it's like, all right, it's going to log into the first one, and then when it's done doing this function, it'll add one, and then it'll run this code again, and it'll log into the second one. All right. We're also giving it the third variable, which is passwords. Okay. And so if I was to run this code and I gave it 100 emails, it would go through 100 eBay accounts and log into them. All right. Simple as that. So that's basically the first tutorial on Python. I know it's kind of like in your face, a lot of information at once. Coding is really, really simple. Don't make it seem complicated. A lot of it's just clicking around. Once you have basic commands, all it is thinking at that point. Most of coding is actually just really good thinking. It's not really, doesn't really have much to do with the code. Like for example, I have a scraping program that scrapes like entire categories of Amazon based on, you know, how many feedbacks they have and, you know, whether or not it's Amazon Prime and things like that. It's like 50 lines of code. It's like no code at all, but it's really all just mind work. It's all how you think about it, okay? So I know that, you know, you guys are really, really new to this, and this is really complicated, but as we go through this series, it will make more sense. So like I said, if I was to run this right now, it would log into this Dexter Coin eBay account right here using the Chrome browser, and it would work just fine. Okay, so that was the first video tutorial series on how to make an eBay login script. The next one, I'm going to show you guys how to scrape certain websites. So for example, like Amazon, AliExpress, Banggood, whatever website you want, I'm going to show you how to pull links to products and how you can refine pulling those links so that you can get like a massive list of links of products to post, all right? So this will log you into any website. Next one will be scraping. Soon I'm going to get into auto ordering, auto tracking programs. Okay, I'll do the Captcha module here soon too for you guys. I'm going to try to make this all inclusive where you guys can make title renamers, repricers. You guys can make whatever you guys need for your business, all right? So thank you guys. All right, thank you guys for watching that video on how to make an eBay login script. This is the first step into making any type of automation program. Now, as I said, I don't use APIs or anything like that, so I definitely brute arbitrage the interface because some websites don't have APIs. So why should I teach you how to use APIs if you're gonna encounter websites that just don't have it? Alright, so if you guys want to see some more videos about how to make dropshipping automation programs, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below, and you guys have a wonderful day.